Day 2 of Dakar 2017 saw the big boys come out to play. 9-time World Rally champion Sebastian Loeb again highlighted no matter what the car or the terrain, he's a winner, and that's exactly what he did.
That stage was very, very fast. The car was working perfectly and no problem at all.
Reigning bike champ Toby Price told everyone the Day 1 strategy was to cruise. Stage 2, though, he wound the throttle wide open to win by a monster margin. America's Ricky Brabeck's goal is no mistakes. He's achieving that so far and is knocking on the door of a top 5 overall. Dakar 2017 is truly up and running, but not everyone's legs are feeling great. Day 3 of Dakar 2017, and already the surrounding landscape has changed dramatically. It's here that the world's toughest off-road rally gets real. Gone are the celebrations of the start, and here now the realization of just how demanding this 5,400-mile epic journey really is hits home. Today delivers the longest special stage thus far, 226 miles for the cars, bikes and quads, but the trucks are shorter leg by more than 100 miles. From San Miguel de Tucumán to San Salvador de Jujuy is 485 miles. Tough navigation and dry riverbed crossings, the signature of the day. The 2 opening stages have guided the competitors with a definitive path, with individuals' lines chosen the only variation. It's been obvious where the race is being run. But stage 3 was a whole different story altogether. And today's mental strain follows stage 2's extreme physical exertion, with the temperatures climbing into the 120-degree zone, an area that bordered on dangerous for the competitors' welfare.
La chaleur qu'il fait aujourd'hui, plus la poussière, les conditions sont rendues difficiles. Avec la chaleur,
with the heat and the dust today, the conditions are very tough for the bike riders. They've told us they've been having some trouble breathing because of getting dust in their mouths. So we're focusing on 2 things, hydration and cooling down their bodies.
Despite the heat, reigning champion Toby Price was flying. He came from 17th on day 1 to not only win the stage, but vault himself to the overall lead.
Tomorrow is going to be a bit more of a difficult day, and the navigation really starts tomorrow, so I'm excited actually to get up front and lead one out and see how we go. And that's it, it's early days, and as long as we just keep our head in the road book and get up in the altitude, I'm looking forward to some colder weather. At the moment it's boiling down here, so I want to get up there as quickly as possible.
In addition to the magnificent scenery in the Jujuy region, an incredibly demanding grind is ahead. There are 2 special sections in today's stage, separated by a neutralized zone rising more than 16,000 feet above sea level. Last year's runner-up Stefan Svitko found it tough though and did not crack the top 10 today. Meanwhile, Honda's Juan Barreda had only 1 goal, and his rivals would soon discover. After his excellent stage win yesterday, it was Aussie Toby Price who opened up the road on stage 3. And more often than not, the first one out pays the toll. And it was a heavy one for the KTM star. Navigation was his nemesis. He ended up 17 minutes behind the eventual winner.
Yeah, the first part of the road book was definitely tricky, and I think we all kind of got a little bit out of whack in there, got a little bit lost, and then had to kind of climb our way back from there.
Things weren't going much better for his KTM teammate Matthias Walkner, who'd already suffered a 5-minute penalty yesterday for speeding in the transport zone. The Austrian was well off the pace in 11th. The Top Guns were struggling, but they weren't the only ones. It quickly became apparent that it was going to be very tricky to navigate through the dusty wilderness. Making his 10th Dakar start, Gerard Fares of Spain shows us what would be a theme all day. although he at least had some company in the form of Yamaha's Rodney Fagada. Diego Duplessis finished 25th in his maiden Dakar last year, the Argentine also joining the fun in what was turning out to be a crazy start to the first special. Another home hopeful, Franco Kaimi, is flying the flag for the Honda South America rally team. But he too was reminded of today's level of difficulty in the extreme dust. Paulo Gonçalves was perhaps the most high-profile casualty, but the Honda man recovered to finish 5th. Although, as he did last year, he found it painful to deal with the change in altitude.
Well, close to 5,000 metres above sea level. It was really difficult. I had a major headache because of the altitude.
The day's surprise package was Frenchman Pierre-Alexandre René. The 32-year-old came home 3rd to move from 19th to 8th overall aboard his Husky. Sam Sunderland had a much better day than his KTM teammates Price and Walkner. The Dubai-based British rider is well at home in the dust and soft conditions and revelled in it. He did have several lucky escapes though, and improved on yesterday to claim 2nd in stage and go 2nd overall. But he was an incredible 13 minutes and 29 seconds adrift of the day's winner. It was again a building day for America's only competitor in the field, Ricky Brabeck, and his factory Honda, although found the going tough, produced yet again a result to be proud of in just his 2nd Dakar and is in touch with the leaders. Speaking of Honda, it was a truly stunning performance from the team leader to win the stage and move into a commanding overall lead. This was the Juan Barreda the rally world knows and fears, because when he's on song, he's virtually unstoppable. His nickname is Bang Bang Barreda, but today the Spaniard went boom. Brabeck in the top 10 for the 3rd straight day. René's Husqvarna made it 3 different brands in the top 3. Barreda's 13th Dakar stage win was won with authority despite a 1-minute time penalty.
Today was one of the days what we expect and we prepare from yesterday also to attack. And I was lucky and I could do good job. And was a really tough stage, but anyway, I keep focus during all the stage, so I am really happy for the work.
It was rock garden, boulder fields, big, deep ravines. Hard to stay straight. I mean, let alone go over the rocks and read the road book. It was tough. Also had a problem. I was pushing a little bit too much in the dust, and I hit a triple danger ditch. I think maybe one of these cars can fit in it, and luckily, my front end and my skid plate made it over, and I tagged the rear so hard I don't know. I have no compression in my bike right now, so I don't know if I broke the spring or something inside. But the fender ripped off, and I had to pull over, and I hit so hard I loosened my handguard because my hand slipped off the handlebars.
First time Barreda has led overall since the completion of the prologue last year, so he'll enjoy sitting on that 10-plus minute advantage. Sunderland will get a boost from being the top KTM rider, and Gonçalves' consistency has been impressive. Sebastian Loeb can drive anything, anywhere. WRC, Pikes Peak, Touring Cars and Le Mans. Now he's got his eyes on an overall Dakar win. So how did the French superstar do today? Find out next. Travelling more than 5,000 miles over South America, one will come across amazing sights, like the city of Quilmes, which dates back to the 9th century. Once home to as many as 5,000 people, Quilmes survived conflict with the Inca around 1480. but could not outlast the Spanish, who deported close to 2,000 inhabitants to Buenos Aires in 1667. This year's Dakar began 2 days ago, where Nasser Al-Attiyah made winning the first stage look easy until he discovered an engine fire at the finish.
Yeah, the condition of the cars is okay, no problem, but okay, this is not in our hand, when some pipe is broke,
Stage 2 went to the Frenchman Sébastien Loeb, the WRC legend, competing in just his second Dakar.
I had a good drive. Then I was, I think, the 70 last case behind the Villiers in the dust and couldn't do anything. But the car was working perfectly and no problem at all at the moment.
Not having a good run was Stefan Petterhansel, the Dakar vet who displayed a somewhat mortal performance for a 12-time champ.
Sometimes 2 or 3 minutes, 5 minutes is really important, and sometimes it's nothing. So it's not a big catastrophe for me, but it's not also the best position.
This valley was once home to a variety of indigenous tribes. Now a new breed of nomads are about to navigate their way through its wide open terrain. As the crews prepare for stage 3, they're aware that there's a lot of unknown ground to cover in the next 226 miles of the timed stage. Overnight leader Sébastien Loeb is first on road, having won yesterday, giving Peugeot its 59th Dakar stage win, putting them even with Volkswagen. But opening the road is a disadvantage as the Frenchman has a blank, dusty canvas ahead. The WRC star barely looked like one early on, getting lost on this true first day of navigation and allowing Nasser Al-Attiyah to catch and then pass him. Keep in mind they leave at 3-minute intervals, so it's easy to see the time Loeb lost. Another Peugeot that struggled was that of former champion Carlos Sainz, who almost flipped early on. But El Matador was able to settle in and find the pace, finishing second on the day, even if it was with a few U-turns. Those are cars driven by Toyota teammates Janil de Villiers and Nanny Roma, who left 3 minutes apart and raced together most of the stage. But clearly in a display that's more NASCAR short-track racing, the teammates were not working together. Rarely do you see contact between teammates on the Dakar, and in this case, Roma won, but could only finish 8th, while de Villiers struggled to 18th. Between the navigation issues and the dust clouds, it was a miracle there wasn't more contact today. With all the chaos, it looked like something out of Mad Max. Perhaps today was a chance for Czech driver Martin Prokop, the former Junior World Rally champion with female co-driver Ilka Minor, to improve on his impressive Dakar debut last year. They hung around the top 10 all day, but an hour penalty took them back to 21st. Leading the attack for the mini team is Mikko Hirvonen, looking for a podium this year after his 4th place finish in last year's Dakar on debut. As one snakes through the ravine of the arrows, it's difficult not to be distracted by the scenery, but the Finn managed and took 4th on the day. Remember how Nasser Al-Attiyah caught Loeb earlier? It looked like the Qatari might lead back to the overall lead today until the final section, when Al-Attiyah lost a wheel and remained stationary for more than an hour. He ended up 31st on the day, more than 2 hours off the leaders. Today seemed to be the day that Monsieur Dakar finally pushed through the field. Stefan Petterhansel, the defending and 12-time champion, avoided trouble and paced the field to his first stage win of this rally, his 69th overall. So Petterhansel leads Peugeot to a 1-2-3 finish on the day, while Mini's Mikko Hirvonen finished as the top non-Peugeot, and after Toyota shined through the first 2 days, some of their luster wore off today.
the car stay in the safety mode. But after we stopped to change with Alex, and in the last few kilometers it works. Now we try to go to Jujuy, but it's not so good day for us, for the team.
We had a problem with the fuel pressure, and the fuel pumps weren't working, and we had to sit and work there for I don't know, about half an hour. We got one working, so fuel pressure is still not 100%, but anyway, at least we're here.
In all the twistier stuff, I really tried to attack like hell to make some time, and I'm really happy what we did. I mean, so far, I don't know how the boys are coming from behind, but so far it's only the buzzers in front, so I'm really happy with that.
We are consistent, we never stopped, and no mistake of navigation also, and we know that the driver of the Peugeot, they are probably good, not the best, but the team is really strong.
We lost quite a lot of time. We have to come back to catch a waypoint, and we lost like 7 or 8 minutes, but after we really try very hard to catch up.
We lost a few minutes in the start. We had a puncture at the end, so I think I lost about 5-6 minutes in the stage for these kind of things. But overall, we are here, still at the end, still in the lead, so it's okay.
Loeb retains the overall lead while Per Hansel takes a big leap to third. Hirvonen rises to fourth where he finished last year's rally. Roma, the lone Toyota, in the top 5. While day one leader Nasser Al-Attiyah is in 25th, more than 2 hours behind. Want to know what it's like to race in the Dakar? We'll give you a point of view look when we return to coverage of the 39th Dakar Rally. Yesterday ended badly for Gert Hutzing. The Renault truck made heavy contact with the car of Ramon Nunez, and Ed Wigman towed him back to the end with a destroyed front right corner to the truck. A long night ahead for the mechanics back at the bivouac. Now today, the wilderness awaits. As in the bikes, the defending champion Gerard de Roy struggled today, losing 30 minutes to the stage leaders. Worst yet for another Dutchman, Vic Verstijnen, who had put together a new team, new crew, new truck, and it looks like his third Dakar has gone up in smoke. 10 years since his Dakar debut, Alès Lepraise, a third-place finisher in 2007, has returned to Tatra after a few years in the MAN. It looks like the old partnership might just be working out. Once a former mechanic, Ton van Genooten is racing his fourth Dakar as a driver. Fifth last year as a member of de Roy's fleet, Van Genooten has been relieved of team orders and is capitalising on his own. With his regular cabin crew, the Killian brothers alongside him, Martin Colomy is looking to get his best ever result after 6 previous Dakar. His highest finish was 5th in 2013, and following a win in the opening stage this year, Colomy took 2nd today and is 2nd overall. Over the first 2 stages, the mighty Kamaz were overshadowed by the Czech and Dutch teams. But led by 2013 champion Eduard Nikolaev, the Russian team looks like the team that won 12 titles in 15 Dakar, starting in 2000. Nikolaev won today's stage and moves into the overall lead. Looking at the top 3 in each class, there's been 3 different winners in as many days in the quads. And the same trend follows in the trucks too. Did we say there's a trend forming? Because the bikes also had its 3rd different winner in as many days, as did the cars, with the reigning champ Peter Hansel victorious. The big names are climbing high. But perhaps today's 3rd stage was the victor, as several of the favourites felt the Dakar's bite. While some say there's always tomorrow, stage 4 brings the longest time test yet. 260 miles at altitude as the Dakar crosses into Bolivia. Join us again tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. For our entire NBCSN team, I'm Lee Diffie, saying thanks for taking the Dakar journey with us.